What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Double M Live. And we're talking real live, like 11:36 p.m. live. Talking end of Game 1 Eastern Conference Finals live. Doing the post-game show live. Got Mike Nice in the building. What's going on, bro?
I'm all right, after just watching that Celtics game, I'm as calm as I possibly could be going live right now to talk to the people. So, because we're doing this live, we're gonna be talking to what I'm trying to stay calm and professional, but I'm feeling it, man. Feeling it for sure.
Definitely, if you are tuned in right now, Celtics drop of game one to the Miami Heat, 118 to 107. And this is a game without Marcus Smart, without Al Horford. So you knew game one was going to be a tough road going forward. But Celtics had this game. Let's be straight up real right here. Celtics had this game won, and they let it slip out their hands. And that's been the story of the Celtics in a lot of their losses in the playoffs. Well, they only lost against Milwaukee Bucks, but it's been self-inflicted. And this game is no different right here. 118 to 107 loss to the Miami Heat.
Yeah, you used that term just now, self-inflicted, and that's exactly how this game went. You talk about a game where the Celtics were in control, especially the first half. The Celtics were in control, and like you said to start, going into this game, you find out that Horford's out for safety, health and safety protocols. Marcus Smart's dealing with the foot sprain, so he's going to be out. So there, you obviously thought to yourselves, all right, Celtics are going to be in a little hole here because you're losing two of your key players in the rotation, guys that are going to get a lot of minutes, obviously, as starters, guys who you expect to contribute a lot, not only offensively but defensively as well. But I know I personally didn't completely jump to panic mode, like, oh damn, all hope is lost, no Smart, no Horford. I didn't completely jump to panic mode because I still felt like at the end of the day, Celtics have guys who in the rotation can step up and be serviceable. But what's most importantly is, yeah, you lost Horford, you lost Smart, very important players. But if Tatum and Brown are on the floor, you got a chance. You got two superstar players on the floor for your team who can go out and get 30 points, 40 points. We've seen them both put up 50 points. You got a chance. And like I was saying, they came out the first half, especially Tatum. And I always think about Tatum going against this Miami Heat team and what he looked like, playing against his team a couple years ago in the bubble. It's not that same team anymore. He's not that same Jason Tatum. And he came out aggressive. He came out strong. And it looked good in the first quarter, looked solid in the second quarter. They went to halftime and came out in third, and just everything fell apart from there, Marv.
It was bad. Let's let's break down the third quarter. You bring up Jason Tatum, ended the game with 29 points, and I believe the first half was 21 points. He had 21 points, really aggressive, and it looked like it was going to be one of those Tatum games. It looked like it was going to be one of those games where he's going to drop 40. He's clearly the best player on the floor, and Celtics were going to get one in Miami.
Tatum looked like a guy who was on a mission. And
Yep.
here talking to you about him, and you the one that got me hip to the idea that Bam has been sending him videos of that block in the bubble from a couple years ago, and all that type of things in terms of that big block on Bam and the way Celtics lost that series, and the Miami Heat made Celtics look like their little brother in that series. I figured Tatum, especially, Tatum Brown, obviously, but Tatum especially would want to come out aggressive and angry and pissed off and want to make an example out of this Miami Heat team. And like I said, it started off looking great. It looked like Tatum was on his way to, like, oh, he might drop 40 this game. That's the direction it looked like this game was headed. And then, you know, not only Tatum, but the whole team kind of reverted back to a team that just let go of the rope. We saw in, I believe it was game 5 against Milwaukee, where you have the opportunity to put your foot on a team's throat and kind of just keep your foot on the gas pedal and just put a team away. And Celtics could have done that. They were playing great basketball first 2 quarters that they could have came out. And maybe it wasn't going to go to a complete 20, 30 point blowout, but you had opportunity to just continue playing the same type of basketball and you would have kept Miami Heat at arm's length and just not let them take control of the game. But they just completely disappeared. I'm talking the first 5, 6 minutes of the quarter, you don't have a single field goal. And then on the opposite side of that, you're not scoring points. On the opposite side of that, you know, you're getting out rebound, second chance points. You're not boxing out. I think Jared Weiss tweeted out about how bad Tatum and Brown have been in terms of boxing out and not putting somebody on their back to grab rebounds. Then your top players are turning the ball over left and right. Last I checked, Tatum had 7 turnovers. I'm pretty sure it went up from there from the last I checked. But Tatum had 7 turnovers.
He ended the game with 7.
He ended the game with 7. Okay, I know Brown had about 2 or 3. Um, your leaders, your star players, not taking care of the ball, and I mean those are guys who are gonna have the ball in their hand the majority of the time, and those guys are not taking care of the ball. It's just things really, really got ugly really fast for the Celtics.
Yeah, so like we were saying, Jason Tatum was the best player on the court in the first half. The best player in the game was Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was the best player in the game. But before we continue, once again, this is Double M Live, brought to you by Bet Online AG. Jimmy Butler, Mike, ended the game with 41 points, and he took over in the second half. First half, he was very quiet in the first half. He got to the line, I believe, like 8 times in the first half, and 10 points. He didn't really put his imprint into the game at all. It was the Jason Tatum and the Celtics show. The Heat were turning the ball over, and the Celtics were capitalizing. Fast forward to the third quarter, and Jimmy Butler, what he performed out there was amazing. Jimmy took this game personally. He took the first half personally. Going into the series, Tatum's been getting a lot of hype. Tatum dropped to 46 points against Giannis, mano a mano. Celtics got up, and you look into the playoffs. The talk is about who's the best players left in the playoffs. People are gonna say Luka, Tatum, Curry, and then Jimmy Butler might get talked about. And Butler's having a hell of a playoff. He's been dropping 40 in these playoffs. He's been, but they haven't been really playing great team. So no one's really been talking about it. Jimmy Butler, we know he's a star, and we saw what he did in the bubble, which is impressive. But Jimmy Butler took this game personally. He said, I'm going to put my imprint in this game. And that's what he did. Offensively and defensively, causing all of those turnovers on Jason Tatum in the third quarter, which led to the huge run that Miami Heat went on, 22-2 run. And that was it. The Celtics could never recover from there.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler had the Celtics looking like a word I don't want to use on this podcast because, we a little family friendly here on Double M, so I'm not going to use those type of words. But Jimmy Butler constantly sunned the Celtics single handedly, taking the ball from Tatum constantly. He got a big block on there, Tatum, late in the game. Snatched the ball from Pritchard and told him to sit down, scoring on Pritchard. Like Butler, like you said, Marvin, exactly what happened. Butler wasn't doing anything crazy the first half. He's getting little points, getting to the line here and there, but he wasn't taking the game over, doing anything crazy. Soon as the second half hit, Butler said, all right, let me step up and give my team what it needs. And he not only put the team on his back offensively, like you said, he finished with what, 40 points, 39 points?
41 points.
41 points. He not only put the team on his back offensively, but he made a major impact defensively. And we all know, yeah,
Three blocks, 4 steals.
3 blocks, 4 steals, a couple hustle plays mixed in there that don't get, they don't show up on the box scores, but Obviously when a player hits a big three or a big dunk, obviously that's huge, can give a team momentum. But if you get a solid steal and get a fast break and finish at the rim, or you get a major block, especially on your home court, that's going to insert and inject so much energy, not only to the team, but the crowd, your home arena. Oh, they're going to lose their minds. And Jimmy Butler added that to the game. Not only we talked about, he's getting buckets, getting to the free throw line, doing all of this without hitting a 3-pointer. What he finished 11 of 17, something like that.
Right.
Um,
12 for 19.
12 for 19, very efficient game, but again, huge on the defensive side of the basketball, where he's injecting life into his team, into the arena. And he just really made the Celtics look like little brother all over again. It gave me some flashbacks a little bit to the bubble where, you just bodying Tatum, backing Tatum down, stealing the ball. Like it was reminiscent of what happened a couple years ago. And I don't think that should be the case, but it was the case in this game one matchup.
Once again, this is Double M Live, brought to you by Bet Online AG. Our partners at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NLF futures. Bet Online is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and, of course, your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's really easy to get started. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up today and use our promo code CLNS50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So we bring up the third quarter, Mike. The Celtics shot 2 for 15 in the third quarter. That's 13%. That's worse than any quarter over the last 4 seasons from the regular season or playoffs. Boston was 1 for 12 on contested shots in the third after making 15 of 31 contested shots in the first half. That's where the game was lost. It was lost in the third quarter. A complete breakdown that you cannot have in the playoffs. Look, I still have the Celtics winning this series in 6. However, this becomes a long series, and Miami has game 7 at home. You're going to look back at this quarter in the third quarter and say, wow, the Celtics really blew this one.
Yeah, if you want to be a championship team and you've made it this far, this deep into the playoffs, you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot have quarters like the Celtics did in the third quarter. And I get it. Nobody's going to play perfect basketball all the time. But literally, everybody knows it. I'm not just going to sit here and make excuses. Oh, you didn't have Horford. You didn't have Smart. Celtics only had 1 day of rest. Screw that. If you watch this game from start to finish, the Celtics were in control the majority of the game.
Yep.
Even that fourth quarter, I'm pretty sure the Celtics outscored the Miami Heat. Let me see here. 31-25 in that fourth quarter. So every quarter you beat the Heat every quarter, but you can't have a third quarter where Miami Heat scores 39 points to your 14 points. You can't have a quarter like that. And not only do you shoot that bad in that quarter, but the amount of lapses on defense, the amount of turnovers, like like I said earlier in the show, you reopen the door for Miami Heat. You reopen the door where you easily could have just held on, played the same way you were playing throughout the game, and kind of coast to a victory a little bit. But the mistakes, everything that took place in that third, you can't play like that. And I'm not going to sit here and make excuses in terms of who's not playing, because at the end of the day, I agree with you, Marv. I still have the Celtics winning the series. Obviously, if you have a fully healthy team, makes things look much smoother. But this game right here showed you, even with not having 2 key players, you're still capable of defeating this team. You're still capable of defeating this team as long as, you have your 2 star players in Tatum and Brown, who can consistently play. Brown had a terrible game. I got to get on Brown. And
Brown
don't
was
let his
bad.
stat sheet fool you, because I mean, if you look
Brown
at
was
the
bad.
box scores, it's gonna say he ended with 24 points, 10 rebounds. But that's only because he got hot in that fourth quarter when they really were desperate. And Marvin and I were sitting here watching this game because saying, it's a little too late, Celtics. It's a little too late, Brown. You're doing all of this now, but you should have continued to have your foot on the gas pedal like this coming out of the second half into the third quarter. Because if that was the case, you wouldn't have been in a position to just let this game go and lose.
Br- Jalen Brown was horrible in this game. Like Mike, you just said it. Don't let the box score fool you. Jalen Brown brought no energy. He looked lackadaisical out there. He was letting Jimmy Butler get to his spots. It was a very bad game from Jalen Brown, which we at some point we got to stop having these type of games. Yes, if it's a bad shooting night from Jalen, all right, we'll accept it. But it seems like one game or two games out the series, Jalen Brown gives you nothing. Now, the end of the fourth quarter, he made some shots. Hopefully, that carries over into game two. But I said it before this game started. You need Jalen Brown to be really good in this game. No Smart, no Horford. Tatum's gonna give you what he gives you. You need Jalen Brown to be consistent. That third quarter, nothing. The first half, nothing. Until the fourth is when he finally to step up, but it was too late for that. Jalen just does these things sometimes on the court where he has bad court awareness. It's been like that his whole career, honestly. Sometimes it looks like he just doesn't know where he's at on the floor. He just looks lost out there. And that's something that the Heat are going to attack. Another guy, you got plays from Derek Derek White gave you 30 minutes, 4 points. What did he give you? 3 points from Derek White.
3 points, 4 assists, no rebounds,
Derek
one
White,
block.
another guy who he's playing scared. Derek White's playing scared. Once you show Derek White some pressure, you start acting tough with him. He plays scared. It looked great in the first quarter. Celtics looked like they were balling. Once the pressure started to amount, Derek White didn't know what to do out there. Passing up mid-range jumpers, the Celtics started forcing the ball into Rob Williams, who had a great game. But the Miami Heat, as a good defensive team, figured it out, figured that lob threat out. And every time that they tried to dump it into Rob Williams, they were stripping him. Rob Williams, another dude who didn't finish the game. Left the game in the end of the fourth quarter. We're hoping it's just cramps, but he can't stay healthy. And if you don't have Horford, you don't have Marcus Smart, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be really tough. Robert Williams is the reason why the Celtics went on a strong first half.
Yeah. You touched on a lot of things there that I definitely want to talk about. First and foremost, back to Jalen Brown. Also, going for 6 for 10 from the free throw line, that's not
Yeah,
gonna cut it. Not
six.
gonna cut it.
He's hard. He's been trashed from the free throws all playoff.
60% from one of your star players it's not gonna cut it, JB. I like the fact that you got to the line 10 times. You can even get to the line a couple more times, but you cannot be shooting those 60% from the free throw line, Jalen Brown. Then you talk about Derek White there. I keep saying, and I'm starting to feel like an idiot saying this. There's gonna be a game where Derek White's gonna come off the bench and have one of those magical performances, similar to what Grant Williams did Game 7 against the Bucks, and a little bit of Pritchard too. There's gonna be a game where that happens. I looked at it, looked for it during the Nets series. I guess you didn't necessarily need it because you took care of the Nets pretty easily. I looked for it against Milwaukee. Didn't happen. Obviously, this is the first game of the series against the Heat, but I'm still looking for a game where we can say, you know what, Derek White stepped off the bench and had a huge impact. Because we've said that about Grant Williams. Hell, we've said that about Pritchard a little bit. When is Derek White a guy who, for the most part, is going to get 25 plus minutes a game When is he going to step up offensively? The reason why I don't get on Derek White's case too much is because, he does play a little solid defense. He does a decent job at being, a playmaker when he comes in the game for Smart or Brown or Tatum, whatever the case. He does a solid job as a playmaker. And I personally do like the times where sometimes he attacks the basket because we know he can't shoot. So when he does get his 7, 8, 9 points or something like that, it's literally because he's getting to the basket. Maybe he'll hit one lucky 3-pointer, but a lot of his points come from inside the paint. But I'm looking for a game where this guy can just really catch some fire and be a boost off the bench. And then the last thing you brought up there, Marv, was the fact that Rob Williams can't stay healthy. Solid game, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, but his health is forever going to be a concern. It's forever going to be a concern. And it's to the point now where, look, Daniel Tice is a nice guy. He's a nice guy. But moving forward, I don't know his contract situation at this very current moment in time. But we're going to have to look for a more valuable, solid option off the bench than Tice. Because I'm not
Ideally,
saying Tice
ideally you
sucks.
don't ideally you don't see Tyson this series if everyone's healthy.
Oh yeah, Tice not playing. And even with Rob Williams' health history and whatnot, I'm saying even moving forward, because obviously they just gave Rob Williams a contract. He's going to be here for the foreseeable future. But I don't want Tice being that next option if Rob Williams can't go. And I'm not saying Tice sucks. I'm saying that you could possibly find a better version for backup center moving forward. But I'm not even trying to reach out to that right now. I'm focused on the series and the players we have here. Obviously, you hope Rob Williams can continue to at least, what did he do tonight? 28 minutes. If he can give you 28 minutes, and assuming you have Horford playing, the Celtics should be all right. But, you know, I just think Celtics were in a position to win this game without two key players. And that tells you a lot. That's why part of the reason why I'm not completely frustrated, losing my mind. Oh, I can't believe third quarter sucked. Don't get me wrong. But the Celtics, even going into that fourth quarter after a horrendous third, Celtics weren't completely out this game. But the mistakes, the turnovers, the being out hustled and out muscled, that's where you really lost this game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Miami as well, and their viewpoint is, well, we got away with one. We didn't play well. Miami didn't play well. They know they didn't play well. Jimmy Butler was their savior. Outside of that, Bam Adebayo, who was a Celtics killer, didn't have an impact in this game whatsoever. I I bet you Bam Adebayo is gonna have more than 5 points.
What do you have
Whatever
tonight?
he what did he end up with, Bam?
10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 blocks.
10 points, 4 rebounds. He defensively he showed up and he made his imprint known to Jalen Brown and a couple of those guys trying to get into the paint. Bam is gonna have a better game. Hero came in the first half and kept the Miami Heat afloat. He didn't score in the third quarter. That huge run that the Miami Heat went on, Hero did not touch the ball once. Thing I like about this Miami Heat's team is they're deep. They don't Spoelstra does not mind going 9, 10 players into it deep to play these dudes. And so Celtics are gonna have to be ready for that. Who the Celtics are tired. You just came off a grueling game 7 series. Like taking charges from Giannis on TV and taking charges from Giannis in real life is two different things. These dudes have been getting beat up, and you're gonna go face another physical series right here. That's why you can't let games like this slip. You can't let games like this slip. Yes, Celtics are the more talented team, even more offensively talented team. However, Miami's no joke. Miami will do what it can to win. Jimmy Butler hit some tough shots tonight when Celtics were trying to make a run. Celtics were trying to make a run. They were playing solid defense. Jimmy Butler just had it going. That's championship plays. They made it to the ship before.
And the
And
thing
it,
that go ahead, sorry.
and if you look at the landscape, all four teams should feel like, oh, we can win the championship. All four teams left should feel like this is theirs to have. And Miami definitely feels that way and should, rightfully so.
Yeah. Does Butler go off like that if Smart is in this game? That's a different argument that could be made.
He's still getting to the line. See, that's the thing about Jimmy. But Jimmy Butler is not Kevin Durant or Giannis because he's gonna get to the line and he's gonna make his free throws. What, he went 17 for 18 today?
Something like that. You also got a lot of those possessions. Pritchard was guarding him though.
But those were jump when Pritchard was guarding him, he was just making jump shots. I'm talking about getting to the line. Even if Jimmy
Sure.
Butler's struggling, he's just gonna get to the line. When Pritchard was on him, he said, "Yeah, cool, barbecue chicken." Mwah.
That's what I'm saying. Smart on him. Smart's gonna make it a little.
For sure,
Butler's good. Smart gonna make it a lot more difficult for him to
for
hit
sure.
them jump shots. I don't know if he's going to easy 12 for 19 or whatever he went getting on Smart. I also at the same time having Smart would be huge. I do think defensively, Tatum and Brown have to step up a little bit more. Um, I know that I brought up earlier not boxing. Now I know when you and I were watching, we saw a replay of Brown terribly not boxing out at all, and all of those little things. Like I get it, you the 2-star players, you're gonna need to go out there and get buckets, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to play both sides of basketball. It's championship basketball. Championship basketball. You can't just want to be out there and get all the buckets and shoot threes, but come on the other end and not box out. Like I saw Butler score kind of easily a couple of times on Tatum and Brown. When on the other side of things, I'm seeing Jimmy Butler blocking Tatum with ease. So you got Butler out here playing both sides of the basketball, no problem. Tatum and Brown, are they the defenders that Butler? Are they the same type of defenders that Butler's? Not fully, but you got to give more effort. Got to give. I'm not saying you out here locking somebody up like you defensive player of the year, but simple things like I said, like boxing out, you have to be better. You have to do the little things for the game that's going to help your team, not just think that you got to get all the points scoring wise. But
Yeah, it toughness was the word throughout this series. When you think about Miami Heat, you know that they're going to be tough, and you know that Celtics, they're battle tested this time. They're battle tested this time around, but the Heat found a way. And all it took was one quarter, which is really disappointing. It took one quarter for the Miami Heat to beat you, and they're gonna go into the game two with a lot of confidence. So let's talk about keys to the game for game two. It's coming up right away, Thursday night, game two, Celtics Heat at home. I think Celtics need to, if they really want to close this out as soon as possible, they got to steal this game two here in defiant fashion. Um, Rob Williams, clearly they found something there with Rob being that lob threat. Tatum was pretty much the main ball handler in the first half and being aggressive. Tatum and Brown need to get into the paint aggressively and dish out quickly, make decisive decisions. I know Van Gundy and Mark Jackson was speaking about that too. There was times where they were double teaming Tatum, and then that's what caused the six turnovers in the second half for Tatum. It's just he was not being decisive with the ball. Be very decisive what you're going to do. Attack if you know you're going to attack, or just dish out. That's something Jimmy Butler's always done very well. Is when he's going down to paint, he knows already what he's about to do. And if Tatum and Brown can do that defiantly, I think they can win this game. Miami Heat have not done anything special. The guys like Vincent and Strauss, they're not going to win you the game.
I'm here looking at some more stats here. Tatum and Brown combined to go to the free throw line 19 times. And like we already brought up before, Jimmy Butler alone went to the free throw line 18 times by himself.
Yeah.
And while we know, yes, that's Butler's game, he's able to get to the rack. One thing that we've talked about numerous times that you brought up here while we were watching, Mom, there's no Brook Lopez in the paint. There's no Giannis. Obviously, Bam is a solid defender, but that's it. After Bam, I mean, Deadman, nobody really scared of Dwayne Deadman.
42 paint points. 42 points in the paint in the first half.
Yeah, you gotta, excuse me, you have to be willing to attack more. You have to be willing to take advantage of the paint and get down there. It's Bam, I get it, Bam, but you're not going to be sunned by Bam. Brook Lopez and Giannis in that other series, they brought their difficulty to the game, but you got to be able to get to the paint more and get to the free throw line. There's no way Jimmy Butler alone should be getting to the paint the same amount of times of your two top players. So I definitely want to see them being more aggressive. And I mean, look, Miami Heat from start to finish, even though they were kind of getting beat up there that first half, their type of intensity, hustle, that's not going to change. And you got to be you got to be ready to match that Celtics from start to finish as well. Miami was losing that first half, but still saw Bam playing tough, still saw Butler playing tough, still saw PJ Tucker, who got hurt, came back, still playing tough. Those guys don't let up. Are they usually going to score a lot of points? They scored 118 tonight. Um, if the Celtics play defense like they are capable of playing defense, Miami Heat not putting up 118 points like that. Jimmy Butler's not going off for 41 points like that. If the Celtics do what they're supposed to do and play how they usually play the right way, they'll be in much better shape. I don't see Butler having another game like this as long as the Celtics match their intensity and play their defense that has propelled them to being such a great team in the second half of the season and through the playoffs. Remember
Yeah.
who you are and remember what's got you here.
Yeah. Last note before we get out of here. Al Horford,
Yes.
safety protocols. Look, uh, this doesn't have to be no type of conspiracy theory here. I think it's kind of safe to say Al Horford is not vaccinated because the reports came out that he was at shoot around. Therefore, if you were at shoot around and then got tested, by the NBA rules, they're only doing that for unvaccinated players. In the middle of the year, the NBA already came out and said, hey, if you're vaccinated or boosted and stuff, we're not doing daily tests. And then we remembered the shadiness that was going on when before the season ended of, oh, well, you guys be ready to play in Toronto. Al Horford gave some weird answers. I remember Horford's answer actually was, I'll be ready to play. It was, and I always thought that was weird that he said he'll be ready. It's like, are you going to play or not? Being ready doesn't mean you'll play. And then now we're potentially going to miss game one, potentially going to miss game two. Obviously, this is a reminder that we're still, year 3 into the pandemic, which sucks. But losing Horford's a blow in this game. You definitely could have used him defensively, especially with the switches and such. So something to look out for, and just know that we dodged a bullet if we were going to face Toronto.
Very true. Yeah, I'm already going in with the mindset that Celtics will not have Horford for game 2 because you was at shoot around, you tested safety and health and safety protocols. Most likely you tested positive for corona. Um, which is unfortunate. Hope all is well with Horford. He's doing all right, feeling all right, but obviously in terms of the game and the series, it's unfortunate not having him. So I'm already going with the mindset that because of healthy safety protocols and the fact that these games are very close together, they're not spaced out like previous series, there's a good chance you won't have Horford for Thursday game 2 Could he be back for Saturday game three? I don't know what the rules are in terms of how many days or whatnot, but losing Horford is huge. Hopefully, you could get him back for a third game. If Celtics can, hopefully steal this second game in Miami, getting Horford back for a potential third game would be huge. It'd be a huge boost, especially going back home to Boston. Um, and also at the same time, hopefully Smart, who looked like he was somewhat decent out there on the court, standing up, cheering on. Hopefully, he's the guy that's back out there for game two. Um, like I said earlier, it was
Celtics have a
encouraging
good
to see the Celtics, for the most part, at least for the second half, hold their own against this team without two of their key players. You get one back, that's a huge boost. You get the team fully healthy back. Now we're talking about, you know, a team that's clicking on all cylinders if you have everybody out there on the floor. So hopefully you have Smart back game two, Horford back game three. Hopefully there's no more setbacks with Rob Williams. And just, got to hope for overall health, because this is the stretch right here where you can't afford to really lose players, because losing players, especially key players right now, can sway a lot of things for you. We've seen it over the years in different teams who've lost players in the conference finals, and things change just like that for your championship hopes. So let's hope for the best here.
Celtics haven't been healthy all playoffs. It's starting to get really ridiculous here.
It's always something. And they just luckily weathered the storm that they've able to make it this far. So hopefully things happening aren't that serious, and you quick turnarounds. You manage and weather the storm to this point, and hopefully you could just gotta ask and pray and hope for health, man.
Right. So this is Double M Live. Celtics post game show. Celtics fall to the Miami Heat 118 to 107. Game 2 Thursday at back in Miami. I was telling Michael I was watching the game, man. It's giving me flashbacks. We faced the Miami Heat in 2020, just 2 years ago, but obviously that was in the bubble. Seeing them back in the home arena facing Miami in the playoffs, them all wearing all white, brought me back to the good old days of facing the LeBron James and the D Wades and Ray Allen on that team, and the playoff series against them, and with us having Rondo. It brought me back. It brought me back to that feel like, wow, we have some nice history with
And we owe them.
Miami.
We owe them from the bubble. We owe them from 2012, 2011, all them freaking years, man. We owe them a beat down and to advance in the playoffs. So hopefully this is the year that we make it happen.
All right. So this is Double M. That's Mike Nice, who just celebrated a birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, my brother. Happy
Appreciate it,
birthday.
dog.
More
Appreciate it.
life and more growth to Double M, of course, man. We
To the moon.
appreciate you. To the moon. Double M to the moon, man. So much more to come. I'm DJ Mees. This is Double M Live, brought to you by Bet Online AG. We'll see you guys next week, to where the series might get real, real crazy.
Game two.
Peace.